Okay, let's dive right in. Today, we're putting together a real science-backed natural blueprint to get your testosterone optimized. This is especially for you guys between, say, 13 and 25. And no, this isn't about some magic supplement. It's about making a fundamental shift in your lifestyle.
Does any of this sound familiar? You know, feeling drained all the time, not quite confident, can't seem to shake that belly fat or build muscle no matter how hard you try? Well, you are definitely not alone. And the problem probably isn't a lack of discipline. These are all classic symptoms pointing to an underlying issue that's quietly affecting a whole generation of men.
And that really gets us to the heart of the matter. We're facing a widespread and kind of scary generational crisis. It's this massive decline in male hormonal health that's been happening right under our noses for decades.
I mean, just look at these numbers. This isn't just a small dip, it's an absolute freefall. Back in 1982, the average guy's testosterone was around 638. Fast forward to 2002, and it's crashed down to 391. And today, we're looking at an average of 265. Each generation is literally starting out with a hormonal handicap compared to the last.
Let's just focus on that 265 number for a second. Now, a doctor's chart might say anything over 300 is normal, but you've got to understand that's the absolute bottom of the barrel for a healthy guy. That's the bare minimum to function, not the optimal state you should be aiming for. Not even close.
This quote from our source material really puts it all into perspective. Biologically, we are half the men our grandfathers were. Oof, that's a heavy thought. This isn't just some number on a lab report. It affects everything. So the big question, the one we have to answer, is why? Why is this happening?
Well, it turns out there are three main culprits, these hidden enemies that are systematically wrecking male hormonal health. And figuring out what they are is the very first step to actually fighting back. So here they are. First, endocrine disruptors lurking in our environment. Second, the staples of our modern diet. And third, the nonstop cycle of cheap dopamine and stress. Let's break down exactly how each of these wages war on your body. First up, these things called endocrine disruptors. The easiest way to think of them is as hormonal imposters. They're toxic chemicals found in plastics, pesticides, you name it, that get inside your body and pretend to be estrogen. This completely messes up your natural signals and slams the brakes on testosterone production. A huge source? Microplastics in our water. Next up, our diet. All the processed foods packed with refined seed oils and sugar, they're like a slow poison. They cause these huge insulin spikes, and the science is super clear on this. When your insulin goes way up, your testosterone goes way down. Then you've got the 1-2 punch of cheap dopamine and stress. Constant scrolling, gaming, porn. It's a cycle of short-term hits that jack up cortisol, your stress hormone. And chronic stress is a certified testosterone killer. It directly shuts down the factory.
Okay, I know, that all sounds pretty bleak, but here's the most important part of this whole thing. This damage is not permanent. If you're in that golden window from 13 to 25, your body is literally primed to produce testosterone. You just have to give it the right set of instructions, and that's where this 3-pillar blueprint comes in.
These are the 3 pillars holding up your entire hormonal system. Optimized nutrition, which we're going to get deep into, physical stimulation, and deep recovery. And here's the thing, you can't just pick one. You have to build up all 3 if you really want to hit your peak.
So let's start with the most critical pillar of all, nutrition. Think about it. You can't build a strong house with flimsy materials, and you absolutely cannot build testosterone without the right nutrients. So here's your actionable meal plan. The best way to picture your nutrition is like this pyramid. The entire foundation, the base, is built on healthy fats. Why? Because testosterone is literally made from cholesterol. These are the essential raw materials. Then you've got your helpers, like zinc and magnesium, which are like the keys that turn the ignition. Vitamin D is the regulator. It's actually a hormone itself. Protein is the support system. And right at the top, you have optimizers, like certain herbs to really fine-tune the whole process. So what does this actually look like on your plate every single day? It's simpler than you think. Build your meals around healthy fats from things like eggs, ghee, nuts, and fish. Make sure you get zinc, which is like the master mineral here, from meat, pumpkin seeds, or dal. For magnesium, think spinach and almonds. Vitamin D, you'll find it in fatty fish and egg yolks. But your best source, honestly, is just getting 15 to 20 minutes of sun every day. And for protein, you can rely on chicken, paneer, and yep, more eggs. This is basically your shopping list for hormonal health. And if you need a little more motivation, just look at this. By simply getting your vitamin D levels where they should be, studies show you can get a massive 25% bump in testosterone. On the flip side, drinking sugary stuff can cause an immediate 25% drop. The choices you make at lunch have a direct and powerful impact.
Now, what you take out of your diet is just as important as what you put in. You've got to eliminate these tea killers. Stop drinking out of plastic bottles. And this is a big one for meal prep. Never, ever heat your food in plastic containers. That's how BPA leaches into your food. Cut out the refined seed oils and sugary drinks. Ease up on the soy, and it probably goes without saying, but minimize the alcohol and smoking. You are in direct control of all of this.
Okay, so let's bring in the other two pillars now and see how this all comes together into a complete 30-day lifestyle fix. Nutrition is the foundation, for sure, but stimulation and recovery are what make the whole thing work.
Pillar number 2 is stimulation. Here's the deal. Your body makes testosterone on demand. It's a use it or lose it system. When you lift heavy things, especially with big, full-body movements like squats and deadlifts, you're sending a primal signal to your brain that says, hey, I need to be stronger to survive. And your body responds by ramping up T production. If you're sitting around all day, you're sending the exact opposite signal. Aim for at least 150 minutes of intense activity a week. We're talking weight training, sprints, that kind of thing.
And finally, we have the most underrated pillar of them all. Recovery. Just look at this chart. A staggering 80% of your testosterone is produced while you are in deep sleep. This is non-negotiable. When you're scrolling on your phone late at night, that blue light is tricking your brain into thinking it's daytime, which totally sabotages your T production. Get this, just 1 week of bad sleep can lower your levels as much as 10 years of aging. You have to prioritize 7 to 9 hours in a cool, dark room every single night.
So what happens when you actually put all 3 of these pillars together for just 30 days? You go from feeling tired to energized, from being unfocused to totally clear-headed. Low confidence gets replaced with assertiveness, and feeling weak gets replaced by feeling strong. This isn't just some theory. It's a real, tangible transformation that's waiting for you.
Look, this entire blueprint, the food, the training, the sleep, it all comes down to a choice. The information is all right here. The path is laid out for you. So your 30-day challenge starts right now. The only question left is, are you ready to go out and reclaim your potential?